We're back on Rochester in Focus this Sunday morning, and our next guests are from Heritage Christian Services, which serves 1,600 children and adults in our community with developmental disabilities. Bob Pieters, the founder, and you're retiring,
right,
and passing the torch on to Marisa Geitner. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us how this started. You started this in 1984. Take us back then.
Okay, we started and incorporated in 1980. In 1984, we opened our first home. 4 days later, we opened our second home. And it was with 2 other sets of parents, and we got together and we just felt that there was no services that were available in the county at that time for people that needed 24/7 care. So we decided that we'd better go ahead and do it. And we wanted a Christian base so that we knew what our value standards were all the way through. And so with our dream of originally 6 homes, we now are up over 70 homes.
70?
Over 70 homes.
And you serve many counties too, not just Monroe, right?
Oh yeah, quite a few counties here in this 10-county area, and then also in Western New York. And it's continuing to grow. Our waiting list is longer than the number of people we serve today. So it's...
And this was an idea that you and some other parents had.
Right.
And how difficult was it back then where did you get support from?
Actually, we got a lot of support from the state. They were encouraging us to continue to go ahead, gave us a list of about 20 different things that we needed to fulfill, the articles of incorporation and everything like that. And then from there, we just went ahead with confidence that we could do it, and we succeeded.
Mm-hmm. Marisa, tell us about your involvement here. You're going to be the new president?
I am, effective January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been with the organization actually on January 4th. I'll celebrate my 20th anniversary with the organization.
I see. So you've been there a long time and know how it works, and I guess I understand you've kind of been groomed for this eventual day.
Well, sure. Bob might have a different word for it, but we've been working together throughout the 20 years. When I started, the organization was a very different size, and I've always considered it a blessing that through each of the steps I was able to work with Bob. And about 7 years ago, we made a formal step so that we could be working together toward this transition. Not only is he a tough act to follow, but it is a very, very important mission and ministry that we support. And as Bob said, at a time when the need is only growing, so we really wanted to make sure that we had the best approach at it.
Sure. Well, let's talk about 2 things. Let's talk about the children and adults that you serve. Who are they? How developmentally disabled are they? And we'll get into the Christian aspect of it that Bob had mentioned earlier. That's part of the name, obviously. Would you like to talk about that?
Sure. As you mentioned, we serve now about 1,700 adults and children with developmental disabilities, and they run really the range. We serve some folks who are still very, very capable of living very independent lives with some supports, but primarily we were an organization started serving those with great medical frailty and significant cognitive impairment, and we have a bit of a niche to meet their needs in a different way.
Do all of these people that you serve live at group homes, or some live at home with their families?
Not all of them do. About 360 of the individuals live within a group home environment. The rest of the folks that we're talking about here are still community-based, living on their own, living at home with mom and dad, living with a loved one, and we're working to connect them with the services and supports they need to thrive.
And what exactly is a group home? I think many of our viewers probably understand. They may even have one in their neighborhood. But what is a group home? What takes place there?
Well, it's a little bit different for each organization. Our home support sometimes just 3 people and sometimes 6 or 7. And it's a family-style home just like anybody's. The individuals come together. They make choices to live together and are supported in that way so that their needs, to the extent they have support needs 24 hours a day, that those can be met in a way that supports 5 or 6 people.
So there's staff people there?
There is.
Trained medical staff, I would guess, and their job is to what?
Provide for the needs and support the outcomes of the individuals who live there.
Okay. Would you like to take the Christian question, part of the question?
Well, when we started, we wanted homes that duplicated what we had as much as we could at home, where you have a value system, and so we said that we'd start with a Christian base, and we serve people of all different faiths and so forth, so that's not a challenge whatsoever. We're not a religious organization, but we have a Christian base of service. And it really has made a difference, I think, and we've attracted people that want to come to work for us because of our value system. And that's made a big difference in the lives of the people we serve. So it just continued to develop, and it's probably stronger today than it was back in 1984.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, envision it growing to where it is today?
No, actually, I'm probably pretty glad I didn't, because it's we'd still probably be writing policies and procedures or some silly stuff like that, and it's no, it's just beyond our expectations. But we've had a lot of support from the state, from the county, have good relationships, and we have a strong management team, and that's really made a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And it, of course, I was on your website. I've done a little research, but you offer respite care for families who may be needing a break.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, and that we also have a depth of service there. So we have 2 different homes that allow individuals who want time away from their family, or their family may need time where they can come and stay. Then we also have after school and after work respite programs. If the individual's needs are potentially just a little different and can't be met in other ways, we can provide them respite. Week-long summer camp programs, so really just trying to be there for families and for the individuals, for them to have the same kind of experiences to learn and grow away from their family as all of us have had.
How difficult is it for families to cope with someone that needs this kind of round-the-clock care?
It's very challenging. You know, you can do it up to a certain stage, but then, you know, it comes to the point where the physical needs are just kind of hard at times, and then also you just got the mental stress on the parents. And also, we've always seen that when a person has moved into a residential setting, they've grown. Every one of the people that we serve have grown because they're a little more independent. They don't have mom and dad coddling to them as much, you know, so sometimes it's hard for parents to recognize that, but once they get in there and see what a change that's made in their lives of their loved ones, they really are totally supportive of it, and it really has made a big difference.
All right, we have to take another short break. When we come back, we'll talk more with the folks from Heritage Christian Services right after this. Winding up our show now this Sunday morning with Bob Pieters and Marisa Geitner from Heritage Christian Services. Bob is retiring and passing on the torch, and Marisa is going to carry it to the next level, I suppose. What are the challenges for the future with Heritage Christian?
Well, I think, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, as fast as the organization has grown to serving 1,700 individuals, the need is still very, very great. So today we have about 436 individuals waiting for residential supports and services.
Really? This is a waiting list then?
Just with Heritage alone, almost 12,000 individuals waiting in New York State for residential support. At a time, of course, when our state and our government are going through a lot of change with how those services and supports are funded. So it's important for both Bob and I. Bob has nurtured a very, very innovative, creative organization that's not afraid to take on challenges, and we intend to be right there with the individuals and their families in need to be sure that the supports and services are there for them when they need it in order to allow them to survive short-term and thrive long-term.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't asked you this yet. You got involved, did you have a family member that was developmentally disabled?
I have 2 children that have a developmental disability, and that was the focus of why we started the agency. Along with these other 2 sets of parents, they also had a child with developmental disability. So that became our nucleus to start the organization because, as I said earlier, there was no services in Monroe County at that time.
It's hard to believe. I mean, we're only talking about 1980.
Right.
And you started in 1984, so that's 30 years ago, and one would think that there would have been by then.
Yeah, there just wasn't at that point, but it's, so it's a challenge we undertook. It's a challenge that has really been fulfilled to really help people to live a life that's really with dignity and just with a whole quality of life.
Mm-hmm. And what's in the future for you in retirement?
Well, watching Marisa make sure she keeps on straight, but basically a little travel, more time spent with the family, and just enjoying retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be going on the board of directors, so I'll still be involved with the agency, and so looking forward to the future.
Was this your life's work after that, at this point?
No, because I had a full-time job up until we started this. I had told my wife that I'd take it for 5 years. I missed by 25, but it's something that just you become very passionate about. But we've just got great support staff all the way through the agency, so it's been easy from that viewpoint.
And Marisa, we have about 15 seconds if you would like to add something here at the end.
Oh, just thank you very much for having us, and we certainly look forward to it. As Bob said, we are blessed to have a talent-rich, dedicated, compassionate workforce, particularly those in our direct support, and we know that the future is bright.
All right. Heritage Christian Services, an important part of our community, and I suppose that if people wanted to donate, they probably could, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marisa Geitner and Bob Pieters from Heritage Christian Services. My thanks earlier to Colonel Gary Yapel from the Veterans Outreach Center, and I will see you again in 2 weeks with the post-election show, who our new president will be and all the other local office holders. Thank you very much.